Namaste, everyone. And thank you so much. Thank you. That was so beautiful. Especially this one, the one that you sang last. And I would like to maybe start reflecting upon this first because this was so beautiful. So, मन दर्पण कहलाए, भले बुरे सारी चीज़ों को देखे और दिखलाए. So this, to me, it seems represents the nature of our mind, which is pure consciousness. You know, this vast screen of consciousness on which thoughts emerge, feelings emerge, sense perceptions are emerging, which are at times clouding. You know, it becomes like a layer of dust on that vast screen of consciousness. And that screen of consciousness is not separated from each other, like we are different bodies, but there is this vast consciousness pervading all those bodies, and that's our interconnectedness. So that really was so touching, and I thought कि उसके बाद अब talk की ज़रूरत नहीं है वैसे. You know, that song was so powerful. So today I thought that maybe we can reflect upon Kabir Ji's Surma and warrior in English. In other terms, it is also said the Aryan spirit, which we may have heard from Sri Aurobindo, the Aryan spirit. I relate them all together. That's my reflection. And in Buddhism, we have something called the heroic heart. So all of these for me come together. The Aryan of Sri Aurobindo, the heroic heart of the Buddhism, and the Surma or the warrior of Kabirji. So we will see how in Savitri I can see reflections of this again, and we have Kabirji talking about in many couplets about who is a Surma, and then a little bit of reflections from Buddhism also about being a heroic heart. So we see that in day-to-day life or in general in life, there is a lot of darkness and turmoil and suffering. And whenever we have to make an effort to transcend above it, like our old thinking patterns, beliefs which are not beneficial anymore, बहुत ज़्यादा अटेम्प्ट करना पड़ता है ना, थोड़ा सा एफर्ट करना पड़ता है. तो श्री अरबिंदो कहते हैं कि जहाँ पे भी हम एफर्ट कर रहे हैं, दिस इज़ व्हाट इज़ द आर्यन स्पिरिट, कि अपने आप को बेहतरी के लिए, अपनी बेनिफिट के लिए जहाँ भी हम एफर्ट कर रहे हैं, दैट इज़ अवर आर्यन स्पिरिट. जैसे अब सुबह उठना चाहते हैं, पता है अच्छा है उठने के लिए, लेकिन उठ नहीं पाते हैं. सो तमस पुल्स अस डाउन, but we still make an effort, we put an alarm, we ask a friend to wake us up, or you know, we ask, give our commitment to somebody कि अगर commitment दे देंगे तब तो उठेंगे ही उठेंगे. So all these efforts towards our benefit, which we know are good for us, is that the quality of that Aryan spirit or that Surma. And when we look at the story of the creation by the mother, where mother said that there was only this one, and then just paraphrasing it, that one out of himself exerted out Aditi or the divine mother, who was given this task of creating. And then Aditi out of herself kind of transmitted these 3-4 powers, which kind of took the power and then upturned. So अगर हम किसी बच्चे को पैसा दें कि ये 100 रुपये ले ले और दूध और ब्रेड ले आ, और वो बच्चा को ये लगे कि अब तो पैसे मेरे हाथ में, अब मैं कुछ भी कर सकता हूँ. So like that, those powers disconnected from their source. So truth became falsehood, bliss became suffering, because they had now this power, you know, and they disconnected kind of. So mother shares this story in her own words. So that is why the default that we have is darkness. And all of us are attempting take ourselves to darkness to light, from darkness to light. And that is why we have these mantras like Asato Ma Sadgamaya. Otherwise, what would be the use of these mantras? You know, because there is Asat. So there is aspiration. And who has this aspiration? That is the heroic heart in us. That is the spirit, Aryan spirit in us. That is the Surma in us, which aspires from Asat to Sat. From Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. क्योंकि तमस है बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट, बट बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट एक हमको एक एस्पिरेशन भी दी गई है, हमको एक स्पिरिट भी दी गई है, विच हैज़ द पावर टू टेक ऑल दीज upturned powers to their true source. So we as a human being, we make use of that, and we see the shining examples of these spirits everywhere in our own lives, how challenging all these years have been individually to each one of us, how we have arisen every time we have fallen down from our challenges, through our challenges. So that is the Aryan spirit, that is the heroic heart or surma of Kabir. So we will take some couplets and see how it relates to us. जो घर जारे वो उभरे, जो घर राखे घर जाए, एक अचंभो जो वियो मड़ो काल ने खाए. So he says कि जो अपने आप को, again just sharing these little reflections, when we are trying to protect ourselves too much, this is me and this is, I have to fend for myself and this little boundary, जितना ज़्यादा हम वो करते हैं उतना ही ज़्यादा हम और एंग्शियस और फियरफुल और लिमिटेड होते जाते हैं. जो घर जा रहे वो उभरे. So he is saying the one who burns his boundaries, he is the one who is saved. जो घर राखे घर जाए. So the one who tries to kind of maintain those boundaries, he is not saved in one sense. He's not able to connect to that bigger self that he can be when he leaves those boundaries. So जो घर जा रे वो उभरे, जो घर राखे घर जाए, एक अचंभो जो वियो मड़ो काल ने खाए. So the one who is dead, he is the one who is able to actually make full use of time. Dead to our own egos, we all understand that, Dead to our own little selves, this little me. So here I want to relate this to Savitri, where Ashwapati's yoga we see on page 25, the yoga of soul's release. The landmarks of the little person fell. The island ego joined its continent. Overpassed was this world of rigid, limiting forms. Life's barriers opened into the unknown. The bounded mind became a boundless light. The finite self mated with infinity. Freedom and empire called to him from an high, above mind's twilight and life's star-led night, there gleamed the dawn of a spiritual day. So we see a reference to that breaking of our little narrow boundaries and then mixing up with the continent, with the oversoul. Then Kabirji says, सिर राखे सिर जात है, सिर कटाए सिर होए, जैसे बाती दीप की कटी उजियारा होए. So अगर हम अपने आप को प्रिजर्व करने की कोशिश करते हैं, I have to save myself again, all the respect, name, fame, whatever, that I want for myself. सर राखे सर जात है, तो कभी नहीं मिलेगा जो हम ढूंढ रहे हैं. We all want fulfillment, we all want our fullness and potential to be manifested. So he says, सिर राखे सिर जात है, सिर कटाए सिर होए. So when we leave what we think we are, when we not try to possess this little self and try to fend for ourselves and, I have to just take care of this little me. When we have these anxieties and worries and hopes and fears which go along with those things, he says, sir kataye sar hoye. So when we let go of fending for ourselves, then it is in true that we are fulfilled and we have that fullness of our potential. जैसे बाती दीप की कटी उजियारा होए. So he resonates this with how, when there is a bati and it's burning, when we cut it, actually we see that the flame rises even more. अब तो जूझे ही बने, मुड़ी चले घर दूर, सिर साहिब को सौंपते सोचा न कीजे सूर. So now he uses the word सूर, which is सूरमा. So he says कि अब तो confront करना ही पड़ेगा. Whatever life situations are, whatever my own inner demons are, अब तो जूझे ही बने, मुड़ी चले घर दूर. So घर in Kabir's terminology I feel is referring to again and again our comfort zones. Our familiar patterns and familiar lives that we have, which are comforting, but they don't fulfill ourselves. They are not fulfilling. We still are missing something. So he says ki now when you have started, it's good that you go on and keep on confronting whatever comes on the way, inner demons and outer challenges. Mudi chale ghar dur. You have let go of all the things that were very comforting in nature, familiar in nature, but they were not fulfilling in nature. They were not giving you that, tejas or, the fulfillment that you should have in life. Sar sahib ko saupte, socha na kije sur. So when you give your head away for truth, for fulfillment of your soul, then you don't think twice. And he relates that to a soldier or a warrior who, when he's fighting for his own king, and if he is loyal to the king, he would not think twice. He would say, no, this is to be done and I will do it at any cost. So when we are marching towards truth, when we take ourselves towards truth and choose, as portrayed in the song, that we have the ability to choose, because we can see which one is beneficial, which one is not beneficial. So when we take one step towards truth, we have to leave many, many comfort boundaries, old patterns, familiar patterns, which are not serving me anymore, but I have a little kind of an attachment to them. उनको इतने टाइम से उनको चाहा है, उन्हीं में हम रहे हैं, तो इतना आसानी से छोड़ा नहीं जाता है. तो जो पुराने पैटर्न्स छोड़ने पड़ते हैं, जिनसे हमें बहुत अटैचमेंट है, और पुराने लोग और रिलेशनशिप्स और डायनेमिक्स छोड़नी पड़ती हैं, तो दुख तो होता है. और दुख इसलिए होता है क्योंकि एज इफ दे हैव बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर फ्लैश. So when something is being taken away from flesh, it hurts. So we have to go through that hurt because it's towards the right thing. And then he continues, he says, तीर तुपक से जो लड़े सो तो सूर न होए, माया तज भक्ति करे सूर कहावे सोए. So he resonates that when you have too many armors and weapons and you are trying to fight this life, the struggle of life, I don't call that one a warrior or a surma. Maya taj bhakti kare. So to be totally devoted to truth, to be totally devoted to what is the highest and the best in us and outside of us. And Maya, I would not again say that I know what is Maya, but we all have reflections of Maya, that which clouds at time, again not taking the other aspect of Maya, which is necessary, but that which clouds us, that which blinds us, कि ये बहुत ज़रूरी है, मुझे अटेंड करना ही करना है, जबकि वो इतना ज़रूरी होता नहीं है. So उसके पीछे हमारा आधा टाइम निकल जाता है, एनर्जी इज़ वेस्टेड, और हम उसके पीछे लगे हुए हैं, जबकि अटेंड कुछ और करना था. So माया तज भक्ति करे सूर कहावे सोए. So the one who is devoted to truth, fights for truth, works for truth in our own self and outside of our own selves, that is one he calls a true surma, because that requires a lot of courage. So to leave our patterns of thinking and feeling, जो बार बार ख्याल आ रहे हैं दिमाग में, उनको छोड़ते रहना और आगे बढ़ते जाना सही की तरफ, ये बहुत courage require करता है. So at times also Kabir ji relates courage with love, that this is true love. Love is courage. That if I truly love my being and I think that my life is precious and I have to make good out of it, then courageously I have to leave the older selves and the older patterns aside which are not serving me anymore. So that's love and courage together. Then taking a little bit from Sri Aurobindo's words, where he talks about who is an Aryan. You must have read, I think some of us may have gone through it. So he writes on who is an Aryan. So his words, I'll just quote them. We fight to win sublime wisdom, therefore men call us warriors. For wisdom implies the choice as well as the knowledge of that which is best, noblest, most luminous, most divine. Law of right action is a choice. The preference of that which expresses the Godhead to that which conceals it. And the choice entails a battle, a struggle. It is not easily made, it is not easily enforced. Whoever makes that choice, whoever seeks to climb from level to level up the hill of the divine, fearing nothing, deterred by no retardation or defeat, shrinking from no vastness because it is too vast for his intelligence, no height because it's too high for his spirit, no greatness because it is too great for his force and courage. He is the Aryan, the divine fighter, the victor, the noble man, Aristos, the best, the Shrestha of the Gita. Intrinsically, Arya means an effort, uprising, and overcoming. The Aryan is he who strives and overcomes all outside him and within him that stands opposed to the human advance. Self-conquest is the first law of his nature. He overcomes earth and body, does not consent like the ordinary men to their dullness, inertia, dead routine, and tamasic limitations. He overcomes life and its energies and refuses to be dominated by their hungers and cravings or enslaved by their rajasic passions. He overcomes the mind and its habits. He does not live in a shell of ignorance, inherited prejudices, customary ideas, pleasant opinions, but knows how to seek and choose, to be large and flexible in intelligence, even as he is firm and strong in his will. For in everything he seeks truth, in everything right, in everything height and freedom. Self-perfection is the aim of his conquest. Therefore, what he conquers, he does not destroy. He ennobles and fulfills. So in here we can also relate that when we are conquering our lower mind and lower nature, we are not leaving the lower mind and lower nature just like that. We are ennobling it. We are refining it in the light of the higher. So therefore, what he conquers, he does not destroy, but ennobles and fulfills. He knows that the body, life, and mind are given to him in order to attain something higher than they. Therefore, they must be transcended and overcome, their limitations denied, the absorptions of their gratifications rejected. Highest is something which is no nullity. So he knows, the warrior knows that the highest is not a nullity of everything, but increasingly expresses itself here, a divine will, consciousness, love, beauty, which pours itself out when found through the terms of lower life. So the lower is a container, the instrument that has been given to us of the lower mind, life, and the body. These are not to be abandoned, but to be fulfilled in the light of the higher. So refining our thoughts, looking at our thoughts, what am I thinking today? Looking at my state of being. Am I too lazy? Am I sleeping? Because I can see some of us may sleep. We sleep, there is tamas. And whenever these higher words are in front of us, the mind goes off to sleep. We have to make effort to keep it upright, So this is all we have to rise above. And we have to conquer all these limitations where he says tamasic limitations. नींद आ जाती है, मेडिटेशन करने बैठते हैं, नींद आ जाती है, माइंड को लगता है बड़ा रिलैक्सेशन है, क्योंकि पूरे टाइम हम बहुत स्ट्रेस्ड रहते हैं डे टू डे लाइफ में. तो जैसे ही हल्का सा रिलैक्सेशन मिलता है, माइंड को लगता है कि सो जाओ. सो 2 minutes ऑफ अटेंशन एंड कॉन्सेंट्रेशन एकदम से झपकी आ जाती है, फिर लगता है ओह ये क्या हुआ, आई वॉज मेडिटेटिंग. So this is what we have to overcome. This is not we have to succumb to. And the power is given with us. It's within us all the time. He's not talking of some other beings. He's talking of our own, this earthly realm only. And we can't say that there must be somebody who is an Aryan, but I am not. Because the ordinary consciousness is also present in me, and the Aryan is also present in me. Who am I giving fodder to in each moment? So he continues and he says that the Aryan knows that the highest is not a nullity. Highest is an increasing expression of itself in divine will, consciousness, love, beatitude, which pours itself out when found through terms of lower life. When it is attained, he pours it forth in work, love, joy, and knowledge upon mankind. For always the Aryan is a worker and warrior. He spares himself no labor of mind. Now, when we are reading Sri Aurobindo, we see that it takes effort. समझ नहीं आती हैं, लंबी लंबी लाइनें होती हैं, घूम जाता है दिमाग, सो एंड मदर सेज कि श्री अरबिंदो को पढ़ना चाहिए बिकॉज उसको पढ़ के हम इंटेलिजेंट बनते हैं, उनको पढ़ के हम वाइज बनते हैं, उनको पढ़ के माइंड को समझ में आती है कि अच्छा एक इतना लंबा अटेंशन स्पैन भी हो सकता है, कि आप इतनी लंबी लाइन थी टेढ़ी मेढ़ी, उसको भी हम पढ़ सकते हैं और उसमें से भी हम कुछ निकाल सकते हैं. सो ही सेज ही स्पेयर्स हिमसेल्फ नो लेबर ऑफ माइंड. Reading Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo is labor of mind. We must, or body, to whether to seek the highest or to serve it. So whether we have to seek what is happening in me, क्यों इतना confusion चल रहा है, what is it that I am looking towards but not able to find, whether it's to seek the highest or to serve the highest, he spares himself no labor of mind. He has always this enthusiasm and energy which is contagious. He avoids no difficulty. He accepts no cessation from fatigue. कि भाई थक गए, अब बाद में पढ़ेंगे, 2 पेज पढ़ लिए, नहीं इतने बहुत है आज के लिए. It happens with us when we are doing all these things. He spares himself no labor of mind. He avoids no difficulty. He accepts no cessation from fatigue. Always he fights for the coming of that kingdom within himself and in the world. So, and again, Sri Aurobindo continues this description where he says that he enlarges his ego which meets the oversoul or the higher consciousness. So, I would not continue just like blah, 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 just me talking about it. I would like to actually take reflections, because this doesn't mean anything to us, and we all have books. The words are right here in front of us all the time. So let us take some reflections and maybe concerns that why maybe it's so difficult, or what can we do, or maybe some people would like to share their reflections of these glimpses of Aryan spirit or the warrior that we have with us all the time. So if we have a mic, I would request Kishore, or if anybody is there, can we have a mic here, please? भैया, भैया, माइक यहाँ पे एक था ना, लास्ट टाइम हमारे पास एक माइक था ना, माइक. थैंक यू. Yeah, so would anyone want to share or add on something, or maybe share some other couplets of Kabir ji that we may have read which are resonating? I don't know. So the videos can be clipped and cut and adjusted. We don't have to bother about the videos. We have a live Janta sitting with all of us and should be live happening. So would anyone want to share anything?
I can share a word that
Yes, please. Yeah.
from one of the Buddhist texts. The word Brahman, which was originally came into existence, was about someone who knows the Brahma, or at least has the potential to work on himself. And then another synonym is Dvij, means the person who has taken another birth, who has evolved and is now a new person. So that used to be called as the Brahman concept. But then it got corrupted. People became Brahmins by birth. So during the time of Mahavira and Buddha, they used a new word for the same category of people. The word was Shraman, means the Aryan spirit, somebody who has worked hard towards evolving and getting better. So they avoided the word Brahman and used the word Shraman for that. So when you mentioned this Sur, I remembered that
Saman.
concept. Shraman.
Shraman. Oh, beautiful.
One who does Shram.
Beautiful. Yes.
And then becomes that worthy of that Brahma.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Patra.
Path, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, anybody else? Anything? Yes, please.
Excuse me. Kabir's Doha, which comes to my mind, and I have been also looking at Sri Aurobindo's quotations. I have not read Savitri, but I will share with you. So Kabir says, I believe, लाली तेरे लाल की जित देखूं तित लाल, लाली देखन मैं गई मैं भी हो गई लाल. So one of the paradox I see that as you're talking about is it takes effort, to transcend. But Sri Aurobindo also talks about that the divine takes over and it is effortless. And Kabir is basically saying that when divine takes over, then there's no observer and observed. So I wanted to, put that part that initially looks like there's a lot of effort, but Sri Aurobindo says that, as I understand it. So you may want to. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, the thing is, I feel that this initial phase of a lot of effort is a very long phase. In Savitri, there comes a line, a long, dim preparation is man's life, a circle of hope and toil. So I think for a long time, and I can of course say for myself, that I see that I still need a lot of effort to choose the right and the highest and the most noblest every moment. It is not become a second nature to me. I can say for myself. So I know that it feels like it's a long process before we are possessed by the divine, which you were sharing, then the effort doesn't need to be there. So if I get to that faraway point, which may seem far away right now, just in term of linear time, it seems like we can't lose vigilance. ये सोच के कि है ना मेरा हो गया कुछ अगर अपने पार्ट्स अपने लाइफ में हमने देख लिया और वो सुंदर लग रहे हैं और वो सोच के हमने देखा कि बस मेरा हो गया, अब दूसरों को अपने ऊपर काम करना है, मेरा हो गया, आई एम पोजेस्ड बाय द डिवाइन. आई थिंक इट्स इन ग्रेडेशंस दैट वी कंप्लीटली हैव दैट full possession by the divine. So I can't be too sure about it, and there are still so many things lacking in us. Tamas is there in full, it's like I see tamas so much, tamas and laziness also, and this rigidity in the mind which comes from time to time ki mera ho gaya, I know now. यू नो, ये हम सब में डेवलप हो जाता है कुछ टाइम के बाद. अगर हम बुक्स अच्छी अच्छी पढ़ने लगते हैं तो बुक पढ़ के ऐसे लगने लग जाता है कि वो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हम में हो चुका है, यू नो. तो हम फिर दूसरों को ज्ञान देने लग जाते हैं कि देख मेरा तो हो गया, अब देख तुझे अपने ऊपर काम. सो आई फील दैट दिस इज़ लाइक अ ट्रैप, एंड दिस ट्रैप, एज कबीर जी सेज दैट साधो तब तक भय करे जब तक पिंजर में सांस. तो दिस विजिलेंस ऑन आवर ओन सेल्फ नीड्स टू बी देयर एज लॉन्ग एज वी हैव ब्रेथ इन द बॉडी, and something or the other will still be, you know, required. So I feel that it's a very long journey, and there are little elements of our beings which are under the overwhelm of darkness, which at times we are so blind that we cannot see. We are blind, you know, we become so blind. So that is why mother says that sincerity, when she talks about sincerity, she says that the parakashta of sincerity would be कि एक तो आप बहुत sincere हो and that you are trying to be more and more sincere, and then you notice also कि नहीं अभी तो मैं यहाँ भी sincere हो सकता हूँ, वहाँ पे भी, वहाँ पे भी, वहाँ पे भी. So not only that you have the intention to become more sincere, but you are seeing that oh my God, I am insincere at so many places. That tells us that oh my God, there is so much. तो वो रुक जाना है ना, थम के सेल्फ सेटिस्फैक्शन इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट ऑब्स्टिकल्स, मदर सेज, कि मेरा हो गया. तो इन आर्यन स्पिरिट आई फील वेरी मच अ रेजोनेंस विद श्री अरबिंदोज वर्ड्स ऑन आर्यन स्पिरिट, बिकॉज ही डजंट लेट अस स्टॉप. ही सेज अभी तो बहुत बचा है, अच्छा अभी तो बहुत बचा है, अभी तो बहुत बचा है. एंड दैट गिव्स अस एंथुजियाज्म टू गो ऑन एंड नॉट स्टॉप सेइंग दैट मेरा हो गया, बिकॉज दैट कैन बी अ वेरी बिग ऑब्स्टिकल, यू नो, व्हेन वी थिंक दैट नाउ I am full of that lali, which we are not, you know. Paradoxically we are. What is there but the divine? We are immersed in the divine. But consciously we have not attained or, you know, given fully ourselves. So I feel that there is a lot of vigilance on my part which is required, that abhi mera nahi hua, and there is so much lacking. Yeah, anybody else? नहीं, मुझे लगता है, सो अगेन आई reiterate your question. The question is कि why are scriptures so difficult, and because of that they can't be for the masses, right? In short, that. So why are they not more comprehensible and more easy for the masses in general? मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि जो मुझे समझ में आ रहा है ना, अभी तो ये पार्ट है कि इतना डिफ़िकल्ट क्यों बनाया, ईजी क्यों नहीं बनाया. हमको कुछ पार्ट तो दिया गया है जो ईजी दिया गया है. आपने कबीर का नाम लिया, क्या वो काम मैंने कर लिया? मैं वहाँ जाऊँ ही क्यों? ये कंप्लेन करने के लिए ये इतना क्यों डिफ़िकल्ट बनाए वेद और रहस्य, मतलब एज इफ़ की सम सीक्रेटिव नॉलेज. क्या कबीर की जो बातें हमको पता है हमें करनी चाहिए लाइफ में, क्या वो हमारी हो गई क्या? है ना, वहाँ पे आई थिंक वी गो साइलेंट बिकॉज द वर्क इज़ नॉट येट डन. और जो आपने क्वेश्चन पूछा है, इट्स अ वेरी ब्यूटीफुल क्वेश्चन. इस पे एक्चुअली में देयर कैन बी डिस्कशन. आई एम श्योर, यू नो, डॉक्टर बिजलानी एंड अदर्स मे हैव मोर इनसाइट्स टू शेयर, बट आई डोंट वांट टू गो देयर, क्योंकि मेरे पास सिंपल मटेरियल है. क्या उस सिंपल मटेरियल, वो सिंपल मटेरियल मेरी लाइफ बन चुका है क्या? अभी नहीं बना है, तो क्यों जाऊँ मैं वहाँ पे? जब खिचड़ी ही नहीं पच रही तो मैं ऐसी चीज़ों के लिए क्यों क्रेव करूं कि जो अभी खाने मेरे डाइजेशन नहीं सूट करती है. नो, देयर इज़ अ लॉट वी कैन डू, है ना. अब डेली लाइफ में द सिंपल श्री अरबिंदो, आर्यन स्पिरिट, कबीर जी, सूरमा, आपको हर मोमेंट में हमारे पास एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि या तो हम वो चुने जो हमारे और दूसरों के लिए हितकर है, बेनिफिशियल है, और या हम वो चुने जो हमको लगता है कि नहीं ये सही है. हम क्या चुनते हैं अक्सर? हम अक्सर ईगो का साथ देते हैं. तो अक्सर अगर हमारा वो नहीं चेंज हुआ है, अगर मोमेंट टू मोमेंट में मैं वो बेनिफिशियल वाला अटेम्प्ट नहीं ले पा रही हूँ, स्टेप नहीं आगे ले पा रही हूँ, और हमेशा अपनी ईगो को आगे कर देती हूँ, तो अभी मेरा काम है ना, अभी तो बहुत छोटा काम है ये. तो इसमें तो मुझे बिल्कुल समझ में आ रहा है, इसमें तो मुझे कोई सीक्रेटिव नॉलेज या कॉम्प्लिकेटेड माइंड नहीं चाहिए. वो ही नहीं करते हम. एक्चुअली ये क्या, मुझे लगता है कि दिस इज़ अगेन अ लेयर ऑफ अ माइंड which comes in front like a blindness, which says कि उसको टरकाने के लिए ना, और प्रोकेस्टिनेट करने के लिए वो कहता है कि अच्छा सिंपल वाला भी मत करो, क्योंकि देखो इतना सारा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, हमारे पास आया नहीं. सिंपल वाला भी नहीं करो, एंड दैट गिव्स अस अ चांस टू रिमेन एज वी आर, क्योंकि उसमें तो कुछ नहीं चेंज करना ना, क्योंकि देखो सब तो इतना डिफिकल्ट लग के चले गए, अब मैं क्या करूं, पुअर मी। तो इसका मतलब मेरे पास एक तरीका हो गया टू रिमेन एज आई एम, एंड दिस इज नॉट अस एक्चुअली, दिस इज, आई फील दिस इज द blindness that works in us, which we, in other words we can say maya also, you know, it deludes us, it takes us away from our highest possible. So to catch it immediately, what I am doing right now, and अच्छा अगर अभी मैं step back कर सकती हूँ into the highest most, let me take care of this present moment जो मेरे पास है, आगे की बाद में देखेंगे, आगे भी तो present moment ही होगा, तब की तब देखेंगे, अभी अपना बेस्ट दे रहे हैं. एंड आई रिलेटेड विद, यू नो, हमको लगता है कि सागर ही पूरा एक पॉइजन से भरा पड़ा है, तो मैं एक बूंद साफ कर लूँगा तो क्या हो जाएगा, भाई एक एक बूंद करके ही तो सागर साफ होगा. तो अभी की एक बूंद विच इज़ द प्रेजेंट मोमेंट, इन दिस प्रेजेंट मोमेंट इफ़ आई चूज़ और ट्राई टू चूज़ एटलीस्ट द बेस्ट एंड द हाइएस्ट, तो मेरा काम ठीक चल रहा है, मोमेंट टू मोमेंट. There is this also, you know, the 37 verses on the practice of a bodhisattva. So there is this term called a bodhisattva in Buddhism, where the verses reflect this heroism, where they say that let me take in the suffering of all and let's everyone have the peace and the happiness. So I feel that also reflects a lot of this courageous spirit in us, because then you are not bothering with your own happiness. तुम कह रहे हो let all the darkness come in you, है ना, एंड द ईगो डजंट वांट द डार्कनेस टू कम इनटू इटसेल्फ. ईगो सेज अरे मेरा क्या होगा, मेरी खुद की सफरिंग इतनी बड़ी चल रही है, मैं बाकियों की कैसे ले लूँ. सो देर इज दिस मेडिटेशन practice in Buddhism called Tonglen, where you inhale everyone's suffering in, and then it dissolves the rigid, hard, egoistic parts of us, and you give away peace and beauty and harmony to everyone. May everyone not suffer, may everyone have happiness. You know, so if we try to do that practice, we will see that there is something in us which is not wanting that darkness to come in, क्योंकि हमें लगता है मेरा क्या होगा, and that is the thing that gets dissolved when we do that practice. So Buddhism also has lots of references in terms of awakening that heroic heart or the warrior within. So anything more? Would anyone want to share? Yes.
The moment I step out of this building and I plan for something else in the next 1 hour, I am not sure that is going to happen. I have no idea what is going to happen to me the moment I step out of this building. Or, you know, so I ask myself nowadays that if you don't know what is going to happen to you in the next 1 minute or 1 hour, then what is the point of saying all this me and planning for with all these desires and everything. One is that desires, when they come into hand, there is not, the high is gone, you know, especially the material desires. Then I ask myself, okay, what is the purpose of really planning and really saying I when you have no control, you know, when everything is being handled by the mother. So that is one thing that's really helping me nowadays, because I'm practicing to see that, no, okay, you know, let me just calm down a bit, let me not think way ahead of myself. So that really helps. And the other thing I wanted to share is, you know, it is very personally I find that it's very important to have a ground, a higher ground, so that the suffering that I think is suffering no longer feels like a suffering, you know, or, you know, all the turmoil I put myself through, you know, my egos, my little, you know, my petty thoughts. I'll give an example. I also use this example in one of the recent sessions. Very I've come from Hyderabad. So the one day I was in the morning early on a Monday or Friday, I was driving my scooter, and I saw this another scooter guy, you know, another guy in a motorcycle. He kind of scratched an auto rickshaw, and they were both fighting on the side of the road. They were like arguing, and they said, "Aise kaise thok diya," and all that. hardly 1 minute, and this guy said, okay, I have to go to my office, so anyway, I'll just leave it where it is. And then he just went away, and I was laughing at it because I was then thinking that, okay, because he has work, he has to go to office on time, he did not bother to engage himself in that argument with the auto wala. So then I started thinking that, what if I have this higher aspiration, then automatically the focus on myself, the focus on how I am being treated goes away, because I am all into that. So that is what the practice is going on.
Yeah.
And the question he asked, I also had a similar question. I used to think, why can I not see Mother, or why can I not see Hanumanji? I have heard stories about people seeing him, and then I started to think that I started to think, one of my uncles, he told me that in order to see something or understand something, he told me that you need to have a discipline on your mind, of your physical, of your all the attributes of the being, and only then you are ready to see it. And then I said, okay, is that really true? And then I went into this thought process, and I said, yes, even if Hanumanji comes and stands in front of me right now, in my living in my lower vital, I would say, okay, so what now? Even if I see Mother, I would ask her questions again. I would not even, I would not even believe in her. So now every time when I read something, especially in Savitri or something, I don't understand, I can just stay in peace thinking that, okay, I am not there yet, so there is more practice to do. And that frustrating element in me has sort of, gone back, because now when I say that, why can I not understand this, or why can I not see them, then I ask, then this question goes there and comes back to me and says, are you ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
And I say, no, I'm not ready for it. Then it will say, okay, then keep on practicing.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of gives this peace, and that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. Anybody else? Anything? Anyone? Okay, so to end with, maybe we can go through. Yeah. So just taking 5 more minutes and ending now. And just with a couplet more of Kabir ji. कामी क्रोधी लालची इनसे भक्ति न होए, भक्ति करे कोई सूरमा, जाति वरन कुल खोए. Kami, all of us are kamis in one sense. We are running towards our objects of pleasures of our senses. We do that, we in generally, all of us. Kami. So we have an object of whatever, this will give me, promise me fulfillment or satisfaction or contentment or happiness, and we run after it. It could be anything. It could be power, respect, name, fame, a person, some position, some life situation. Kami, krodhi, lalchi. Inse bhakti na hoye. So whenever I am in that consciousness of being a kami, being a krodhi, being a lalchi, then what I am running towards, basically what's going on in my mind is that outside there will give me what I am seeking, if I possess that. Kami, krodhi, lalchi. So krodhi, when I become krodhi, when things are not happening according to my idea of how they should happen, तभी हमको गुस्सा आता है. और जब वो हो जाएगा तब बिल्कुल ठीक है, जब नहीं हो रहा तो बहुत गड़बड़ चल रही है. सो कामी, क्रोधी, लालची, जब हम इन कॉन्शियसनेस में होते हैं, दिस ऑल बिलोंगिंग टू दैट लिटिल ईगो कॉन्शियसनेस, इनसे भक्ति ना होए. भक्ति करे कोई सूरमा, जाति वरण कुल खोए. सो वी हैव टू लेट गो ऑफ सो मच दैट वी आर कैरिंग, आवर आइडियाज ऑफ ट्रुथ, our ideas of this is what will give me satisfaction, All those have to be left behind if we want to be loyal to truth. But having said that, we also know that in Savitri, Sri Aurobindo says the supreme diplomat makes use of every rise and fall. So even when I am kami, even when I am krodhi, even when I am lalchi, there is some process which is happening, which is actually taking me towards my true self only. So it's a very win-win situation that we are in. You know, that चाहे अच्छी जगह जाओगे चाहे गलत जगह जाओगे, गलत जगह से भी जो पिटाई होगी वो वापस अच्छी जगह ही लाएगी. तो thank God for this पिटाई that is there, the pain, you know, hammer of God. Because अगर हम में पूरी नॉलेज होती कि मुझे किस तरफ जाना है और उधर ही बढ़े जा रहे हैं, तो फिर तो पेन की कोई ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. Because we are in ignorance, because we do things which maybe are not beneficial to us in the long run and also short run, that is why pain is there, like a red light is there. So thank goodness for pain in our ignorance, because if not for pain, I personally see for myself, if not for pain, I would not know how to turn the right way. I would not know. So just reading a few lines from Savitri to end with. This is from Yoga of Ashwapati, Spirit's Freedom and Greatness. The earth, nature's summits sank below his feet. So Ashwapati is going like an arrow towards truth, his truth consciousness. He climbed to meet the infinite more above. To a few is given that godlike rare release, one among thousands never touched, engrossed in the external's word's design, is chosen by a secret witness eye. He has turned from the voices of the narrow realm and left the little lane of human time. His soul left naked to the timeless one, far from the compulsion of created things. Thought and its shadowy idols disappear. The molds of form and person are undone. It was torn out from his mortality. His wakened mind became an empty slate on which the universal and soul could write. All that represses our fallen consciousness was taken from him like a forgotten load. A fire that seemed the body of a god consumed the limiting figures of the past and made a larger room for a new self to live. So this reflects what we had read earlier. घर जारो घर उबरे. एक तरफ से जल रहा है सब, you know. A fire that seemed the body of a god consumed the limiting figures of the past and made a larger room for a new self to live. So all in our life which is not beneficial anymore, the patterns in which we think, the feeling patterns, the way in which we have our lifestyles, that which takes us towards laziness and tamas and inertia, all that we have to allow it to get burned so that a new, larger self can live, which is actually our destiny and birthright. So I'll pause there, and that is for today, for musings and reflections. There is much more, of course, and our life is the biggest guru more than anything else. So thank you for so much of patience, and thank you for your reflections.